Welcome to Maker's Perspective. We're going to be making a twist cup. This is going to be made from one of the supios that was from the previous video. You can even see the missing cane. I will also have some drawing diagrams to explain what I'm looking for and what I'm doing as I'm making this cup. I'm working in Acme Studio in Louisville, Kentucky with the assistance of J.W. May. My supios are in the garage and I'm just going to get a gather to make a small collar that I can attach the supio to. I don't need a lot of glass, just a little bit. Come out of the furnace and I hold it up. Pop the bubble all the way through, and then to not get the cellophane throughout the studio, I finish it all with a blow in the glory hole. A quick marver on the sides, and then go to the bench to clean up the side so that my collar and the supio are of similar diameter. For the collar, I try to make sure that a little bit of the pipe is exposed. You can see how the pipe comes through on the diagram. And then the rest, the red, is the glass that's the diameter of the supio. JW has picked up the supio where it's broken off with a donut-like punty. You can always pause the video, rewind, and look at the diagram. But on the diagram, you'll see the donut that JW picked up on, as well as my moil collar look like. He brings it over just like I would attach an encalmo. I just stick it on and give it a push. Place the shears where the connection is, and then a bonk by him. You can also see if I made the cups a little larger that I would basically be making and attaching an encalmo. To me, there's no real difference. You can see that in this diagram. That's the way I do it to stick up the supios. And that's also the way I would do it if I was joining encalmos, much like how I learned to join them from Lino back in the day. Now I could just knock over the supio in the garage and stab it. That's fine enough too. But I figured I'd show it this method. I'd get a better shot. I don't have to worry about wiping it up as cleanly. JW took care of that. And it's more like the encalmo. Once I have it on the collar, then I'll just need to make sure that it's joined up properly. Fused on, some heat, and just marver the sides to make sure everything is nice and neat. JW's just taking it for a heat as I remove some smooch off my glasses. So a quickie on the marver, and then back at the bench where I start to tweeze the very bottom. During this time, I could do a few things. I could keep it straight, or I could start to twist it. I could just jack it down and close it off. For what I'm doing on this piece, I'm going to kind of straighten it a little bit, jack it down, cut it off, and then go for my gather. I'll twist it after I've gathered. jacks on the sides, and then jack down just that last little 1/4 inch. Squeeze the walls together to close the bubble. Pull it out a little bit, and then come back in, and I'm having JW blow to make a nice even bubble with just a little bit of extra thickness at the tip. Now I'm just going to chew it off with my shears. And now you can see I have a nice little closed off supio. Going back in for a heat so I can blow it out one more time and then get a nice even gather on it.
Every day's Monday here, right?
Just put the butt ends of the jacks on it, and then on the sides, elongating it a little bit. I want to try to shoot that bubble, make sure it's down towards the tip a little bit more.
Good stuff. Blow again.
Looks pretty good. Give the jacks a wax, and then I'll get my block ready for after I gather while JW rakes the furnace. I'll give this piece one last splash to burn out any funk that the jacks might have left on there. So again, when I gather, I go in on the right, and as I'm coming down, I kind of come over to the left and trail. There I am going into the right, kind of swooping it over to the side a little bit to the left, and then come out with a nice even gather. There you can see the gather around my supio, the red the collar, the green the supio, and then the outer layer, my gather I just took. Cooling the pipe, and that also allows the skin to cool down. So then I can go directly into my block to even the material out, but also even the temp. Now, I haven't blown glass for a while, so once you really get an act for it, you can gather on and go. But here, I'm going to gather, block it, and have JW heat it, and then I'll block it again. It might be redundant, but I'm going to have an even bubble as far as my temperature. Block the whole thing, and give it one more heat. This is my last blocking of this. Get the whole thing. Don't touch it too long. Hold it up, tapping it, and squatting it up. Then holding it down, and then blowing the bobble as close to the bottom as I can. A soak in the glory hole, then back to the bench. And this is one of those areas where some people use the marver, but I like to use the newspaper just as I did with the cane. It will take out less heat and I can basically shape the same thing and have JW blow while I'm shaping. You can kind of see that nice even amount of glass around it and longer shape. Essentially a good setup to stuff into an optic mold, and that's kind of the same sort of setup that I'm going for to twist it. So after this heat, I'll twist the piss out of it. So heat, come back, grab the very tip, kind of where it's solid, give it a pull, and then start twisting. I still haven't really cut into the bubble yet. Pulling on that and then coming back in with my diamond shears. No reason to change into jacks. Now I'm cutting into the bubble. I can just basically go into the bubble and cut it. Here you can see where I cut it, so I pull at that tip and the solid part, but then I come back and join those ends together where there's that little line, dotted blue line, and that becomes the new bottom. Now that I've gotten my twist, I'm just going to even it out to make sure that I can make a nice whiskey glass. So I'll heat the piece up and give it a quick marver on the sides and reinforce that I want there to be a little extra material on the bottom. Again, marvering on the side and then right there on the tip. I spent more time turning back towards me so as not to untwist it, and if anything, enhance the twist of the piece. Heat, then at the bench, using the buttons of my jacks to cool down the bottom of the cup. Now on the sides of the blades, and JW is blowing.
Stop.
I'm starting my jack line a good quarter to half an inch off the pipe, making sure that I'm cutting into the top area of the supio.
Blow.
I blow up a ball, and then come back in and take my jack blades, open them up and pull that shoulder, then finish straight up and down on that jack line.
Blow.
Then come back in on the moil, make sure it's nice and straight, and then back to the glory hole to heat it up so I can blow it out and shape it a bit more. Now back at the bench, I go straight on the sides and have JW cap while I'm doing that. Next, I'll put the bottom end to the butt end of the jacks.
Stop.
Finally, I'll grab my blow hose so that I can blow while JW will paddle to get the refined bottom that we're looking for. have to do a brief camera switch. It lasts for about 15 minutes. Now when I have my blowhose, you can see that it's on the outside, so that when I swing the pipe to get into the bench, it will be on the inside, and not inhibit my turning in any way, shape, or form. I'm just heating up the very bottom of the piece with quick flashes for the moil and neckline. A deep flash, a little bit more hesitation on the bottom, and back to the bench. Jacks on the sides, JW on the bottom, but not close enough so he touches the jacks. He just needs to be a bit over halfway. I have that thickness, that watermark, the refined bottom we're looking for. Here's a shot of how I'm turning. Not really crabbing or anything, just nice smooth rolls back and forth with my hand pushing it and the jacks pulling it back. JW's gone off to grab the punty, and I just put a little kick in with my bench paddle. Take off the blowhose in a flash. I'm going to torch the moil and the connection. Give it a little push with the torch, keep it turning, and then grab my cane so I can mark the landing bullseye. Now essentially, if everything was done correctly, a little sphincter at the bottom of the cane, where all the cane come together, should be on center. So that should be a good reference to put the punty on. But if you pull it off a little bit, it's best to mark it. JW's got the punty. Putting on the punty, it's not a hard push, just kind of a touch. Give it a roll, see that it's off, and give it a push down to straighten it up. I'll switch to my water tweezers, with a drop of water on the moil, and then 2 drops, a drop on the jack line, flip, and then another drop, then a bonk. JW goes to the glory hole. I drop a bit of water on the moil as not to flood and get more precise drops on the jack line. There goes Fergs with the pipe. JW brings it back so I can straighten. 1 tweezer blade on the inside and 1 on the outside. Lift up and push down. I just need to get that top little part so I can trim it. So I'm just going to cheat and use the oxypropane. Some might say using the oxypro here is cheating. But if you got it, use it. And I just need to really finish off that top quarter section of this cup. So now just the monotony of flashing and then heating up that top quarter of the cup. So I can tweeze, trim, put a lip wrap, and then open it up. A little psych out, it wasn't as hot as I wanted it. So, a deep flash again, and then heating the front of the cup.
No, it's just a ball. I mean, it's
Back
more
at the
or less
bench, I
been
grab my
on
tweezers
continuously
and
for
turning the
like
direction my
5
cane
years.
is so I can
So,
kind of twist it up a little bit. But
it
pulling it
works
out, then
regardless.
finding that gap, coming in around the 3 to 5 o'clock area, and then just settling in around 6 o'clock and just feeding the piece into my shears
Right.
while I cut. It should be a fairly quick heat to the glory hole just to true up the lip. Then back to the bench where I'll make the lip nice and straight. JW brings me a gather. I just trail it right on the lip. 2 complete revolutions. Strip it off into the glory hole. So JW comes over with that gather. He's gather like he would an Evolio. A little bit of glass off the tip of the rod, and then he holds it up and then drops it down, thus it flows, so I can just touch and go. Now when I heat it, I have the opportunity to come in with my jacks on the inside and then the outside when I first go to the bench. And if anything squeezes out, basically goes north of the rest of the lip, that means it was placed on even. And if it was placed on uneven, then I can trim it. But he brought it over fine, and I did my job fine, so there's no need to worry about that. So go back in, heat it up,
Blow.
and a little Sophie. So I stick the punk tee a little further off the bench rail, and then when I'm done, I just pull back away from the Sophie. You can see how the shoulder's blown out. I generally Sophie twice, so I'll do that again, but in between, I'll just open this cup up just a little bit. So I grab my jacks, go on the outside,
On.
and then go on the inside and just open it up just a little bit more.
Puffage.
A deep flash. And I'm ready to Sophie again. Back at the bench, I'll take my jacks on the outside, cooling down the cup so that area doesn't blow out. Grab the Sophie with them, and you can see everything just inflates into the area. Then I put my jacks on the outside once more to make sure it's not overinflated. Now I just need to finish off that top 1/8 of the cup. So Jack's on the outside, he's paddling the bottom, and I just gradually lift up the lip.
Do that. Good off.
Making sure it's nice and straight on the back. He was. You can see the cup, the very lip still kind of is kicked in a little bit. So I just need to do that one more time to heat and address that.
Alright, bottom,
Jacks again starting on the outside. He's got a paddle on the very bottom.
top,
Then I just lift
Off.
and then come back on the outside to make sure everything's nice and true. He's sandwiching me, paddle on the bottom and paddle all on the lip.
good.
Then I'm on the sides, making sure that it's a nice cylinder. I grab the oxypropane torch and I'm going to put an indent into the cup. Basically a thumb spot, which I'm doing right now. Then I'll flash it and then I'll kind of make a little finger groove opposite of the thumb spot. So I'm just getting it hot enough and letting gravity take over. Giving the punny a little, and the bottom a little flash. And now JW will take it to the glory hole and flash the whole piece. It's best after that move to take the Sophie and blow some cool air on the spot that was torched, so that when you heat it, if it's still not there, it won't drop back out. Here I'm torching perpendicular to the bottom. This mark is going to be for the ring, index, and middle finger as far as grabbing this cup. Once I have my indent, I'll torch the bottom and the punny just to make sure that everything's nice and straight. And if for any reason I've pulled out the bottom, I'll take some time and give it a little bit of extra care. So I've managed to almost straighten it up from it kind of listing to either side as I was torching the grooves in, and now just torching that bottom to see if it's pulled out any, but to also kind of straighten it down there. As I come back into the glory hole or go, I always kind of hold it up a little bit just so it can sink down just to make sure that the bottom is where it needs to be. Giving it the hairy eyeball. Now drop a water right on the connection between the punty and piece. Switch to my dry tweezers and give it a bong and torch out any sharpness from the punty, and JW will take it with the tongs to the annealer.
Thanks, man.
So that was the cup. And there again is the drawing of how I attach the supio. You can also kind of see the small donut punny. There are also various cups that I've made with the supios. The switch axis and the Pilchuck 96 can be seen there, and those will be in later videos. Thank you for watching Maker's Perspective. Cheers.